Good morning everyone, and welcome back to this third video in the educational series about the strategy I use and the tools we have available with the Pro service and the Premium service. Today in this video we are going to see, we'll start from where we left off in the second video, and we'll begin with the levels of my strings, the daily ones that we have here. These in short give us the frame. They frame for us what is, let's say, expected for the day. If we take a moment to remove this and load up in order to get a complete picture of the situation and thus have a broader view of the market, I have created for the Pro service my monthly base levels, which I will now bring up for you so you can get an idea of what they are. These are the monthly levels for the month of July. Today is the 11th of July, so these levels started from the 1st of July and of course will remain the same throughout the entire month of July. You can see how both MRO and MSO have the same functionality as the daily and weekly level. They contain, let's say, the first movements of the month, and as you can see, since the beginning of the month we have been anchored between these levels, so we can file away. We can say that this month is absolutely moving sideways so far. At this moment we are working in the upper part of the range. We have the monthly HV level acting as a dividing line, and in the lower part you can see that whenever the high level was tested, it always reacted by pushing prices down to the low level. Then there was a bit of sideways movement here in the central part as the market decided what to do next. After that there was an upward push, then down again, then up again. So this can definitely serve as a reference point even for those who work for example with options, where you can look for some nice combinations of various kinds at this point. Obviously, as always, when we have this range as our first monthly reference, the moment we start to move out of this range, we can already see a clear directionality and we can understand which way the main push is going that month, giving us an idea of what the primary trend is. So in addition to this, obviously we can also add the crucial weekly levels. Here they are, clearly visible. The significant weekly levels, of course, are meticulously updated every single week and provide us with an even more comprehensive and detailed reading of the current market conditions compared to the monthly ones. You can clearly see here, if we now temporarily remove the monthly levels from our view, that this particular week, just like the entire month, we've primarily been moving sideways. There was a noticeable bit of a breakout with a precise test of the very first resistance level, which we specifically know as VS1 and VR1. And basically, as long as we stay within this level, we're absolutely within the weekly range between VR1 and VS1. So here too the trend is clearly sideways. Obviously then we add the daily levels and we have the full picture. Let me just find out that it is, and we have the daily overview. Now I'll also reload the monthly levels, and I'll set a slightly broader time frame than 5 minutes to give you a clearer idea of the overall view. This is where the month of July starts here. It is highlighted and we can immediately see at a glance that this month is once again moving completely sideways, not offering any directional cues. So we can go ahead and build our options strategies around these initial levels while we're still within the range. For example, I might think about butterflies with the central point. Well, you know, I don't specifically trade options, but that's what comes to mind as a possible scenario. Of course, those of you with more experience in options than I have, since I almost never trade them, if ever, can use these levels and the concepts of the strategy to help identify whether once a level is broken, you can push to the next one. And those can be the levels where you collect profits and position or create your own strategies based on this. So going into detail about the operational cues, you can see here that last night, after Trump's statements regarding tariffs, there was this sharp drop. This is the Nasdaq, which brought prices down to test today's VIX levels, only to then bounce back up towards SD0, which in this case acted as resistance, pushing the price back down. Here too, this level, which was a weekly level, could be the weekly zero head, held things up a bit, only to then break upwards. So you see how many more reference points you have when you start with a market reading that can tell you whether we're in a strong trend or in a sideways phase, and based on that you can adjust your strategy. Because we know, or you can learn from the book, from all my videos, as I always try to, and Towel to try to explain to you here the logic behind my strategy. Basically, as long as the market moves within these initial ranges, I treat it as such, and so I keep working within the range. The moment there's a breakout from these levels, I can start trading the market directionally, so I begin to work it in the direction of the trend. Except, of course, for the possibility of making some contrarian trades at key levels, where technical analysis patterns, for whether candlestick patterns or simply reversal formations, as I've covered extensively in my book. 2B top, 2B down, the double top, the triple top. These are the patterns that we definitely look at in order to decide whether to enter with a contrarian position. The point is always the same, basically. No matter which time frame you want to work on, at the core of my strategy, there is always Dow Theory. So higher highs and higher lows indicate an uptrend, while lower highs and lower lows indicate an uptrend. When these are not broken afterwards, we find ourselves in a sideways phase. It's all very simple. As long as we are in a sideways phase, we work at the VR0, VSZ or WS0 levels. It depends on the volatility of the day. For the daily ones, you can even extend up to WS1 or VR1 on certain days. As for the weekly levels, we always refer to WR0 and WS0 to understand what the weekly trend is. The same goes for the monthly levels, which we monitor to have a broader perspective, and based on that, determine our daily operations, set up our hedging strategies, perhaps with the options at key levels, and we can definitely build a more structured type of trading. This approach is based on a logic that remains consistent regardless of the time frame we use. Of course, the stops will be wider because the distances to cover are greater, and this also affects where we place both stop losses and take profits. I don't want to make this video any heavier. I'm trying to introduce just a few concepts at a time, but I think these are quite simple to understand. These are three indicators: the KiwiHo Daily Pro, the KiwiHo Weekly Pro, and the ChidiHo, the KiwiHo Monthly Pro. These are three indicators that are part of the Pro service and allow you to have these levels on all the assets you want. So even if you load them onto crypto, onto bonds, which we don't usually follow, or onto forex, they work the same way, and you can definitely find plenty of trading ideas on all the assets you follow, and above all, you always have them available at any time. This is the big advantage of having Pro, also because the monthly levels are only available with the Pro service. Not even Premium offers the monthly level. Premium offers the weekly and daily ones for a range of assets, but not for all of them. So there are definitely many advantages to Pro. Later, we'll see what other benefits Pro offers as I introduce you to some of the other indicators and show you how I use them, as I'm trying to convey to you the concepts that form the foundation of my strategy. I repeat them in these videos, and I will keep repeating them. I'll also refer back to previous videos precisely to try to expand on these ideas and help you internalize them so that they become part of your mental routine and you get used to thinking in that way. So you always need to keep in mind that every level, whether it's support or resistance, once it's broken, reverses its roles, or resistance becomes support and support becomes resistance. Based on that, we need to adapt our strategy, whether we stay within the weekly range, the monthly range, or maybe if we break out of all these ranges and the market takes on a strong direction, we know we have to wait for a retracement to position ourselves in the direction of the trend, or maybe try a counter trend trade at the main levels, which are the cluster wings, the 1D low, and in some situations also the VS2 and WR2 levels, both daily and intraday. It really depends on the volatility and the momentum with which we reach those levels. Another important concept is momentum. Always look at the volumes and the size of the volume, meaning the distance between the open and the close. If this is expanding, it means that volumes are continuing to come in, supporting the movement. When a reversal occurs, there is obviously a slowdown in momentum, which is quite likely, and then there is a reversal, possibly with some kind of reversal pattern, among those we've already mentioned and discussed. Anyway, there's also the comprehensive book and various insightful papers that I have readily available on my dedicated Discord channel where everyone can easily access them. There's the official website with other valuable references, and of course there's the interactive chat where anyone can freely ask questions. I'm always genuinely happy to provide answers. So with this video, which again I want to keep quite brief and concise. We've now reached the very end. We've thoroughly introduced these additional crucial concepts of weekly, daily, and monthly levels to help us better understand and effectively frame the overall market structure we're about to operate within. So always keep the market structure very clear in mind, and then as we go into more detail, we'll see how to identify the market environment using the BC3 2.1 indicator, which I'll explain how to use, how to read, and what its function is to help us interpret the market and determine the type of strategy to adopt for that particular day. Thank you all, as always, for your attention, and I'll see you in the next video.